and that will make the business effectively look a lot better from the curb appeal perspective, and that widens the audience of potential buyers because the potential buyers tend to like more profitable things.
And what's the flip side of this then? So you've gone out there, you've found a business, you've acquired it, you've maybe even acquired a couple. What about the sales side of it? Because I guess the way you want to buy your business probably isn't the way you want to sell it. I mean, you'd like to buy it for no money down and sell it for 100% on day one. So I mean, where do you go? What's the journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're then into the kind of the traditional sales type model, and selling small businesses is much harder than buying them. Like I say, there isn't a massive audience for these businesses. So there's a few things you have to do to be right at the front of the queue. And these are the things that brokers could easily do and actually add value, but none of them do. And that is to have a really good information memorandum around the business. Ideally audit the business, or at least have it audit ready, because one of the biggest challenges with small businesses is director signed off financial statements that basically can be made up. I mean, a director will sign anything, so having it audited adds a huge amount of credibility to the transaction. Actually repositioning the accounts for profit. So you'll often find that a business you pick up that's doing 100 grand a year, if you change the accounting treatment, can be making 2 or 3 times that. What I mean by accounting treatment is there are lots of different ways that you can recognize costs in the accounts, and there are lots of different ways you can recognize revenue in the accounts. And more often than not, the entrepreneur doesn't have any say in this. The accountant just picks the one that's most tax efficient. Well, we'd actually like the one that's the least tax efficient, because that means it shows more profit, and that will make the business effectively look a lot better from the curb appeal perspective, and that widens the audience of potential buyers because the potential buyers tend to like more profitable things. And then the other thing is also being prepared to do a deal structure. You don't want to necessarily do the same one that we bought it on the basis of, but you also have to recognize you're not going to get 100% up front. So some areas where we help buyers is we try and pre-arrange finance on the business. So we figure out how much we can leverage it by, and then we say to them, by the way, this finance company will give you, $500,000. How much can you put on the table? Another 200 grand. Okay, that's 700 grand. How much could you pay us over the next 5 years? 500 grand. Okay, we're at 1 point, whatever. And then let's stick some earn out on there. Now, what's interesting is brokers will often advise clients not to take deferred payment and not to take earn out. I believe that if you refuse to take deferred payment and you refuse to take earn out, you're just leaving a ton of money on the table that could be there otherwise. Deferred payment is really the bit you negotiate after you've agreed on the upfront money they're paying. So it's almost like a bonus. It's almost like extra money that you're going to get every year. An earn out is a sum of money that's linked to a specific performance. So the business has to do something in order for you to get it. And that's why people don't like it, because they feel like I'm being sucked into a job in the business where I'm going to get commission. Well, actually, no, it's kind of the icing on the cake. What you're basically saying is, if this business is a complete shitbox, I'm going to get nothing. But if you hit it out the park and you're incredibly successful, I want a piece. Why wouldn't you do that? It's a asymmetric bet. It's a bet you can't lose. So if you're ever given a bet you can't lose, you should take the bet. I think a lot of people have this ringing in their ears: no earn out, no earn out, no earn out. But they haven't actually sat down and thought about what that means in practical terms or in reality. And so it's I
mean, I guess the key takeaway here for anyone looking to sell a business is that selling a business is a business in itself, and there's always that disparity between business founders and CEOs. The people who've had the idea, who've been the entrepreneur, probably aren't the best person to run that business, but forcefully put themselves in that situation and ultimately do themselves down. And I guess this is like the third step in that journey, that when it comes to selling the business, not only do you need the right expert advice, you need months, if not potentially years of preparation of getting all the pieces in place, to be able to get that maximum price.
Yeah, I mean, look, I took a view on this a while back, because what I used to do is keep the businesses for far too long on the basis that I'm trying to rinse every last cent out of the exit value. And what I realized is actually there's kind of an optimum where, the whole preparing for sale process takes about 100 days. It's about a 90-day process to get everything in place that it looks sensible to a potential buyer. The sale process after that can be 6 to 9 months, but can equally be, I had one that took 5 years to sell, and I've had ones that took 1 month to sell, but 6 to 9 months is probably a good average in terms of what it actually takes to sell them. And I think doing that, the 100-day turnaround and the 6 to 9 month exit is kind of the optimum, because it frees you up then to do the next one and the next one. What I found was that there's kind of a law of diminishing returns. And in fact, I was holding far too many businesses in 2009, ended up closing 3 of them. And if I'd been flipping those rather than trying to add more and more value, I would have had a significant addition to my personal wealth.